Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of a playthrough of King's Quest VI, Heir Today, Gone Tomorrow. This is one of the best point-and-click adventure games of all time. I'm very excited to play it. This was a big change from the previous games. I'll give it a minute here. It's a little bit loud. Let's see if we can turn it down. All right, so where we left off in the King's Quest series, in King's Quest 3, we're introduced to Prince Alexander, who was kidnapped as a baby, stolen away by the evil wizard Manannan. Alexander finds Manannan's laboratory, learns a bunch of spells. At the end of the game, turns him into a cat and escapes. In King's Quest V, we see Manannan's brother, Mordak, kidnap King Graham's entire family, including Alexander, because he wants Alexander to turn Manannan back into a human, and only the person who casts the spell can do it. At the end of King's Quest V, when we're at Mordak's castle, we meet Princess Cassima, who Mordak had also kidnapped. And Prince Alexander says, "Oh, I will come visit you in your land of the Green Isles." And that's where this game picks up. So that being said, let's watch the opening.
Long ago, in the castle of a kingdom called Daventry,
Alexander, here you are. Oh, you're still not thinking about Cassima, are you?
I suppose I am.
Son, it's been months. You've got to pull yourself together. After all, you only met her that once.
I know.
Have you discovered anything about the land of the Green Isles?
No. No one's even heard of it. It's like she's just vanished.
I wish I could help. Please try to think about something else, dear.
I'll try, Mother.
Alexander, I feel so alone. I don't know what to do. Alexander, I wish you were here. Alexander.
Cassima! Wait! Mother, come quick!
Alexander, what on earth? You're white as a ghost.
Mother, I saw Cassima. She was in the mirror.
In the mirror? The magic mirror?
Yes! And it showed me how to find her.
How?
The stars! I saw the stars outside her window. I can navigate by the stars.
Oh, Alexander, if you really go...
It will be all right, Mother. I promise.
Okay, so we're going there, right?
Prince Alexander sailed the known seas and beyond. the shore. Day turns to night, and the sea turns violent.
Some old school effects right there. Oh, Jane Jensen helped. So Roberta Williams did all of the King's Quest games, but Jane Jensen helped with, or she did all the Gabriel Knight games, which were fantastic. And so to have them work on a game together is very cool.
Alexander awakens to find himself on an unfamiliar beach. For a moment, he is too dazed to remember how he got here. Then he does remember. The shipwreck, the sea. Just as he had seen his men safely into the lifeboats, a gigantic wave picked him up and tossed him overboard into the churning sea. That was the last he'd seen of his crew. Debris from the shipwreck is scattered along the shore, but of the lifeboats and his men, there is thankfully no trace. He can only hope and pray that the lifeboats survived the currents, and that his men made their way safely back to Daventry.
All right, let's see if we get the volume. Wow, okay. All right. That speed is a little bit better. The default speed is just too slow. Okay, what is this thing?
Alexander's royal insignia ring lies abandoned on the sand. It must have slipped from his finger during the shipwreck. Fortunately, it was not lost in the sea.
Well, we want that.
Alexander picks up his royal insignia ring from the beach. Alexander's ring is made of the purest gold and has the insignia of the royal family of Daventry on its face. Alexander is already wearing his ring.
Okay.
A long plank lies on the beach. No doubt it once belonged to Alexander's ship.
Can I turn on subtitles? Speech. Both. Ah, here we go.
A long plank lies on the beach. Alexander pushes the plank to one side. A box has been partially buried under sand.
Cool.
The box must have opened in the sea, spilling its treasure. Everything has been washed away, except for one coin of Daventry. There's nothing of interest in that.
Take the coin.
Alexander takes the coin and leaves the ruined box where it is. Broken pieces of Alexander's ship litter the beach. Alexander has no use for the ship debris. The remains of Alexander's sailing ship lie dashed upon the distant shore.
Okay.
To the left, a small village seems to invite the weary traveler. In the distance, a majestic castle shines in the sun. A grand old tree stretches its luxurious limbs out over the crossroads. Alexander examines the tree's hollow, but finds nothing of interest.
All right, well, we're here to see Cassima, right? So let's go.
Two guards take their stance in front of the castle doors. They look quite fierce and have the stiff, blank expression of soldiers on formal duty.
They're guard dogs.
Alexander politely addresses the odd-looking guards at the castle doors, hoping to learn more about his predicament.
Good day to you, guards. I was cast upon this island in a storm, and I'm a little confused about my location. Could you tell me what place this is and who lives in this castle?
Hey, what is that you say? A castaway? A likely story. We haven't had any foreigners in this part since Alhazred arrived.
Don't be so rude, Gruff. He's not asking for any secrets. You're standing on the Isle of the Crown, lad, and this is the Castle of the Crown. The royal family resides here. Rather, what's left of the royal family.
The Isle of the Crown? But tell me, am I anywhere near the land of the Green Isles?
This is the land of the Green Isles. The Isle of the Crown is the main island, foolish boy.
Then Princess Cassima must live in this very castle.
Aye, the princess is indeed our treasured jewel to guard, and we consider it an honor.
Excuse me, guardsmen, guard dogs. I've been traveling for months to see Princess Cassima. I would like an audience, please.
I'm sorry, but the princess is not receiving visitors, particularly not strangers.
We're not strangers.
I really must see the princess. Could I speak with someone in charge?
Who are you that I should bother Captain Saladin, huh?
My name is Alexander. I am a prince of Daventry and a friend of the princess.
A prince, is it? I see. Yeah, and I am lord of this dusty path. Step aside. You'll not be getting into this castle without some proof of your claims.
Yo, what up? I have this royal insignia ring.
Alexander decides to try his royal insignia ring on the guards. With all of his papers lost in the shipwreck, it is the only possible proof of his identity that he can think of.
Perhaps this ring will convince you of my identity. It is the royal insignia ring of Daventry.
Ha! I'm sure. Just let me take a look at that ring.
Well, I'm sorry, Your Highness. It's just that princes are so uncommon in these parts. Let me get Captain Saladin.
The guard returns a moment later with a majestic-looking creature. Captain Saladin speaks with a voice that is gentle, but reflects a will of iron.
Prince Alexander of Daventry, I presume. I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with your country, but I'm sure Vizier Alhazred will want to meet you, if indeed you are a friend of the princess. Please follow me. Lord Alhazred, a visitor to see you. Prince Alexander of Daventry.
What is it that you seek, Prince Alexander?
Pardon the intrusion, my lord, but I came to see Princess Cassima. Some months ago, my father, King Graham, saved my family and I from imprisonment under an evil wizard named Mordak.
The same wizard that kidnapped the princess?
Exactly. When my father rescued us, he also liberated Cassima and sent her home.
Then your father has my gratitude, and that of the entire kingdom. but I'm afraid I still fail to see the purpose of your visit.
Well, I came to make sure that Cassima arrived safely and to pay my respects. Before we parted, she gave me an invitation to visit.
I have no doubt she did exactly that at the time, Prince Alexander. However, things have greatly changed for Cassima since her ordeal in Mordak's castle. Cassima's parents both became ill and died while she was gone. Cassima is sequestered in mourning for them as befits a princess. She is not receiving visitors of any kind. Even if she were, I do not think your visit would be appropriate. You see, it is time for Cassima to take her responsibilities seriously. With her parents gone, she no longer has the luxury to be a carefree maiden. As was her parents' wish, Cassima and I are to be wed.
Boo.
We shall rule the kingdom together. I assure you, our marriage is all Cassima wants now. As a prince and a gentleman, it would be best that you leave before there is any further embarrassment.
I see. I suppose that I was mistaken. I thought for certain that Cassima... Well, I apologize.
A young man sees what he wishes to see. I'm sorry you've wasted your time traveling to the land of the Green Isles. May your journey home be swift.
Perhaps I will take the opportunity to look around your fair land while I'm here.
I would advise against that. The kingdom is rather, shall we say, inhospitable these days. But it is your neck. You may risk it if you please. Captain Saladin will escort you from the castle. Good day.
So watch this, that guy standing in the middle with the glistening eye.
You have had your hearing with Vizier Alhazred. I trust you will respect his wishes and not return. I have been instructed not to let you into the castle again. Good day, my lord.
Captain Saladin whispers something to the guard dogs at the castle gate, and they nod with understanding. Alexander has a feeling they won't be letting him into the castle again.
How rude.
The side of the castle is one big blank wall. Vines have begun to climb the castle's stucco walls. The vines are too flimsy to support Alexander. The wall is quite solid. Alexander's hands would give way long before the wall did. The narrow path ends abruptly at a pile of boulders. Stained glass windows adorn the castle wall. That way is blocked by heavy foliage.
The story is very Aladdin-y. So clearly she's being kept against her will by the evil Vizier.
For new! Old lamps for new!
Trying to find
An
a genie?
old beggar is peddling his wares in the village. He offers a variety of lamps, all neatly lined up on a long pole.
Good day, peddler.
Good day, sir. If you would like to get one of my fine new lamps, I'll need an old lamp in trade.
Isn't it a rather bad business? Taking old lamps and giving new lamps in exchange?
Well, there's always a chance that I'll find a genie. If I had a genie, I'd be richer than a king. Besides, there's always a roaring business in antique luminaries.
How fare you, peddler?
Lad, have you an old lamp for me yet?
No.
The sign above the door says Ali's Books. The sign says Pawn Shop.
8 points out of 231.
Hello. I will be right up. Now, what can I do for you?
Good day, sir. I'm a stranger in this land. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
That is quite a question, young man. Who are you, and what would you have me tell you?
My name is Alexander. I know I am on the Isle of the Crown, but I'd like to know whatever you can tell me about this island, and if there are other islands nearby.
You are indeed a stranger. Anxious is the man who knows not the customs of the land beneath his feet. This island is called the Isle of the Crown, because the royal family's castle is here. Besides the castle, we also have this village, and the docks over to the west. There are at least 3 other islands. The Isle of the Sacred Mountain, the Isle of the Beast, and the Isle of Wonder.
At least 3? Does no one know for certain?
This is no ordinary land, Alexander. The land of the Green Isles has always been a place of vague boundaries, as if islands come and go. Legend speaks of a 4th island, an isle shrouded in mists. I myself have never seen it. Then, too, the land of the Green Isles is said to exist on the boundaries of this world and the next. Even darker places are reputed to be closer here than anywhere else in the world.
That's quite a claim.
Claim, yes, but probably just local superstition. We who live here on the Isle of the Crown, at least, sleep well enough at night.
Those first 3 islands you mentioned, how might I learn more about them?
Ideally, a young man seeking such knowledge would travel to their shores and learn about them firsthand. Meeting the leaders of each place would be helpful, naturally. Unfortunately, the ferry no longer runs between the islands. There has been much political unrest, and it has been too dangerous to travel for years. Perhaps the ferryman can tell you more. He has little enough to do these days. And if you haven't been there already, you might seek an audience at the castle.
Thank you kindly, merchant, for all your good advice.
Ah, but advice is free, Alexander. Making use of it costs much more.
How fare you, merchant?
I have been reading too much love poetry lately. It is rather depressing to an old bachelor like me.
How fare?
Well, I would be better if I could only finish my manuscript. I am a budding novelist, you know.
An antique leather-bound book is displayed on a little stand on the counter. On the elaborate cover is the title, Ye Useful Book of Magic Spells. There's a book entitled The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages on the small table in the reading area. It appears that some regular customer likes that book. An old man occasionally steals sidelong glances at Alexander from under a concealing hood.
Okay, watch his eye.
There's a small table near the door that bears a sign. The sign has undergone a number of changes. It once read 10 pence, but that was crossed out and replaced with 5 pence, then 1 pence, then free. The sign currently reads, Take one, please. Only one book remains on the table. It looks like the bookshop owner really wants to get rid of that book. Alexander picks up the book from the small table.
Oh, yes, please, take that book. You have my most humble thanks for doing so, good sir.
Really? Thanks.
Alexander is carrying a book from the bargain table in the bookshop.
Okay, well, what is it, though?
Alexander opens the bargain book and reads a paragraph at random.
2 dulcimers raised to the degree of 40 half-dulcimers, divided into equal parts by the third of a cackle of grouse geese, put over the result of 10 fine mackles, albeit small fine mackles, stretched over the total of 53 1/8 bottles of wild beast lard.
Phew, what an incredibly boring book. No wonder the bookshop owner wanted to get rid of it so badly.
You see how his eye keeps sparkling? We watch for a trend here.
Alexander rests his feet for a moment. Alexander picks up and leafs idly through a book called The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages. Well, that was refreshing.
How much for that book on the counter, merchant?
It is a fine book, is it not? I obtained it from the estate of the one and only magician this kingdom has ever had. Poofed himself into an aardvark in the end, or so I heard. I never found the spells all that useful myself, but then I lead a boring life. I tell you what, if you can find another rare book, something a bit more marketable, I might be willing to exchange the spell book for it.
Okay.
These shelves hold a collection of oddly titled guidebooks. Alexander notices such books as How to Become King with Little or No Rupees Down, Finding the Right Girl with the Right Dowry, and Why Good Princesses Like Bad Wizards. Volumes of poetry are on display on this bookshelf. Assorted travelogues and biographies are arranged on these shelves. These shelves hold a selection of cookbooks. A collection of children's books fill those shelves. Thinking of Cassima, Alexander decides to leaf through one of the volumes of love poetry. He reads, Thy hair, thy lips, thy beauteous face, and all thy studied female grace have won for thee anon a place within this broken breast. Not bad. And another. Upon the shore the lilies bend, untouched by worldly care, where shadow they her earthly bed, oh, that she were not there. Yikes. And another. What was it when I looked at you? What power has chained me through and binds my heart with links so tight I cannot live without the sight of you? What nameless thing has captured me and made me powerless to flee? What thing is it without a name that brings my mind e'er back the same to thee? The name of love cannot apply. Its commonness does not decry the haunted, hunted, painful cry that my heart makes for you, that e'er my soul eternal makes for you.
A little close to home, that one.
Alexander returns the love poem book to the shelf.
Oh.
A page has fallen from the poem book and now lies on the floor. Alexander picks up the fallen page. It's the love poem he particularly liked. It must have fallen out of the poetry book.
I see that old volume has lost another page. You may keep it if you like, sir. I have glued the stubborn thing back in place 2 times already.
I do rather like it. Thank you, merchant.
Alexander has a love poem from a book in the bookshop. Right now, Alexander is too involved with the journey he's on to take time to read about the journeys of others. Alexander isn't interested in the cookbooks on that shelf. He's had an aversion to cooking ever since he experimented with a certain cookie recipe involving cat hair and fish oil. Alexander is a little old for those children's books.
Good day, sir.
The mysterious old man just ignores Alexander. A plaque bearing a merchant crest hangs over the doorway. The bookshop owner must be proud of his credentials. A large round pot is one of the pottery pieces on display outside the shops.
These games, there's always something like in one of these.
Alexander examines the large pot. It's currently empty, but a few scraps in the bottom indicate that it is used as a dump site on occasion.
Okay.
Alexander is not in the market for pottery just now in his life.
Good day.
Towering mightily over the other pawn shop curiosities, the stuffed bear makes an ostentatious display. The land of the Green Isles must have at least one inhabitant with interest in the mystical, for a crystal ball has been traded in along with the more common household goods. The back wall of the shop holds various odds and ends. For example, a hull hole detector for finding those hard-to-spot holes in small sailboats. The pawn shop owner is a mysterious fellow. His face is old and inscrutable, and there's a glint of sheer iron in his gaze. Still, Alexander senses this is someone he can trust. An elegant little glass dish decorates the countertop. The dish is full of green mints offered for the enjoyment of the customer. The pawn shop's counter is made of a sturdy teak. The wood is well worn by eager hands and well oiled by the shop's faithful keeper. Alexander takes a mint.
Good day, merchant. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles?
I can tell you she is in a dark time. Without the ferry, communication between the islands has ground to a halt, and so nearly has my business. Why the long ages of peace have ended, and why the crown has not done something about it is beyond me. But then, I am a shopkeeper, not a politician, and can only hope for better days.
How bide you, good merchant?
Quite well, though a purchase would not hurt me any.
Can you tell me, merchant, what the value of this ring might be?
By the sands of the sea, what a beauty! What fine gold and masterful artistry! This ring is quite valuable, sir. I would not feel right taking it in trade. None of the items on display in my humble store are even close to the value of this ring.
Truly? Well, it would be hard to part with it anyway, I suppose.
Alexander takes a closer look at the items on the counter.
I see you have noticed my mechanical nightingale. She is made of plain tin, but she sings the sweetest song you can imagine, barely distinguishable from the real thing. The flute is only made of plain wood, but its notes are fine and true. Ah, yes, the painter's brush. It was well used by one of the island's best painters. There's a lot of creativity in that brush, and its bristles are still in good condition. Have you an interest in tinder boxes? This one is only slightly battered. It holds a good supply of flint, a sturdy striking pad, and even a candle in case you find yourself with naught else to hold the flame.
The pawn shop's...
How bide you?
Quite well.
Okay.
Towering mightily over the other pawn shop curiosities, the stuffed bear makes an ostentatious display. The small green mint looks very tasty.
I always want to save before we eat something in case we need it later.
Alexander eats the mint. Not bad. A little stale, perhaps.
Can we get another one?
Alexander takes a mint.
Okay, good.
I have this copper coin. Is it of any value to you at all?
Most interesting. I have never seen a Daventry coin before, but it is copper genuine enough. I might even find a buyer who is interested in foreign currency. The items on the front counter are the only things in the store that I can let go for the price of 1 copper. You may make your choice from there.
Alexander looks at the items on the counter to make his selection.
I have no clue. Let's just take one.
That mechanical nightingale looks intriguing. I believe I'll take it.
Very well. Your coin is well spent. Remember, this is a pawn shop. I am always willing to take back my own goods in trade.
I'll remember. Thank you.
Cool. Again, this has been, years and years and years since I've played this, but I think what we do is we can trade any of these items back and forth for the other ones. So I don't know what we need. I don't know what we need
There's
first.
a young girl in the yard. The girl is dressed in a long, plain orange robe with a thick headdress. From the appearance of her clothes and from a skittish, fearful look about her, Alexander gets the strong impression that she is a servant, or even worse, a slave. The serving girl appears to be stealing a quiet moment tending the rose bushes. The girl is too far away to hold a conversation with Alexander. The girl is too far away to hold a conversation with Alexander.
You lazy thing! Get back to work and stay away from those roses!
How rude.
I've told you 1,000,000 times, those flowers are too sweet for the likes of you! You've still got to do the breakfast dishes, make lunch, and clean the stables yet this morning! And get your veil back on! No one wants to look at your face!
Yes, stepmother.
Yikes.
Red roses beautifully cover the top of the house's fence and gate arbor. Alexander has not been invited to pick the family's roses. The house is made of stucco in an architectural style native to the island. It is apparently quite old since climbing vines embrace its exterior. Alexander is standing on a dirt street leading through the village. To his right is a fine house with a private yard. The yard is surrounded by a gated fence and is full of red rose hedges. The street continues off to the northwest, from which direction Alexander can feel a light sea breeze.
Hey, stranger, come join me. The water is wonderful, and I can show you the way to the next island.
A young boy is happily swimming in the sea off the docks.
on, jump in. A little water won't hurt you.
Considering the poor condition of the shore, it looks like the easiest way to get into the water is just to jump off the pier. The powerful currents grab Alexander. Struggle as he might, he feels himself being pulled out to sea.
Not a very good swimmer, are you?
Help me!
Sorry, I think not.
As his head submerges for the third time, Alexander finds himself pondering the wisdom of going out on a limb for a stranger.
Tickets. Oh. Next.
Alexander couldn't handle those currents. That boy must be an unbelievably strong swimmer.
Good day. I'm Alexander. What are you doing in the sea?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm swimming. I mean, come join me. The water's wonderful. I can show you the way to the next island. What are you waiting for? I said I'd show you how to get to the next island, didn't I?
See his eyes flashing, sparkle?
The ocean currents continue to murmur, but...
Oh!
That's strange. The young boy in the water just disappeared. Oh well, perhaps he just dove under the water.
Yeah, what do you want?
Excuse me. My name is Alexander. The owner of the bookshop in the village told me you might be able to help me. I hear you used to run this ferry for the islands. I'd like to talk to you if you have a moment.
You say old Allie sent you? I can't see why. The ferry's not running, you know.
I understand. I'd just like to talk to you about the islands if you don't mind.
Well, I guess it'd be all right if Allie sent you. Well, don't just stand there. Come on inside. What is it you wanted to talk about, young man?
There's a rabbit's foot on the table. It seems the ferryman is counting on a little luck.
I'm a visitor to these islands. I'd like to learn what I can about the area.
So you said outside. What is it you want to know?
Well, for one thing, why has the island's only ferry been dry docked?
Huh. It just ain't safe to sail these days, what with the islands feuding and all. Vizier Alhazred ordered the ferry closed till things settled down. Me, I don't think she'll ever see water again.
But why are the islands feuding?
You got me. Something about stolen property or some such thing. 'Tis a real shame. Things used to be so friendly.
Then this unrest is recent.
A few years is all, but it's been long enough.
Perhaps if the ferry were repaired.
This old thing? This ferry's been out of water so long she's no longer even seaworthy. Her boards have dry rot. She'd fall apart at the first taste of seawater.
But there must be some way to get off this island.
There's only one other way to travel that I know of. A magic map. The owner of the pawn shop can tell you more about that than I can, Alexander.
Tell me more about the ferry.
I remember when I used to ferry Queen Ilaria and Princess Cassima themselves. There was no thought of danger back then. They used to go visiting to care for the needy and to keep up the friendly relations between the islands. I remember their last trip. Things had started getting nasty by then, and when they came back aboard, I gathered that the Queen and the Princess had been received a bit coldly. Princess Cassima was such a pretty thing, and she was terribly upset. But who could be spreading these lies, she asked the Queen, but the Queen had no answer.
What do you do now that the ferry no longer operates?
Me? I'm out of a job. The job my ancestors have held for generations. I'm the only one trained to avoid the reef and the rocks. But that knowledge does me no good now.
Is there no other boat on the island? One that might be more seaworthy?
Boats don't last long on these shoals, as you may have found out if you got here by ship. You can be quite sure that this old ferry is, or was, the only craft on the island.
Tell me more about Princess Cassima.
Ah, such a beautiful child, and so pure of heart. Why, a contrary thought has never crossed her mind. Her mother was the same. The king and queen, they served the islands, not the other way around. Always thinking about the people. Ah, they are sorely missed.
What else can you tell me about the land?
Let's see. The Isle of Wonder's a lovely spot. A bit crazy, mind you. Gotta have a good sense of humor to enjoy a tour there.
What else can you tell me about the land?
The Isle of the Beast is pretty, but unfortunately, you can't get very far onto the island.
What else can you tell?
The inhabitants of the Isle of the Sacred Mountain are the most gorgeous creatures you'll ever see. If you ever get to see them, that is.
What else can you tell me about the land?
The Castle of the Crown sure is a beauty. She's the finest palace ever built, I'll warrant.
What else can you...
Some say that the land of the Green Isles is near the edge of the world, and that the deadly currents are a result of a magnetism that sucks life from this world to the next. Of course, that's just silly talk.
What else can you...
Let's see. The Isle of...
Okay.
I see you have a rabbit's foot. Has it brought you much luck?
As you can see, my luck's been out for some time now, despite that old charm. Why don't you take it with you? Perhaps giving the darn thing away will bring me good fortune at last.
Perhaps it will at that. Thank you. Would you be interested in this ring?
I don't need charity. I won't take nothing from no man till I get back in business and can earn my own keep.
Would you be at all interested in this?
Nah, what need is a poor dry dock ferryman for that?
Would you be...
Nah.
I don't want to start giving him stuff. Let's just...
Alexander promises himself.
Well, I think I'll be going now. Thanks for allowing me into your home.
Posh, not at all. It breaks the boredom, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Let's go ask about that magic map that he was talking about.
Good day.
Hey, look who it is, Mr. Blackrobe.
A mysterious old man also patronizes the pawn shop. He steals sidelong glances at Alexander from under his hood.
Excuse me, merchant, but the ferryman mentioned that you might have a magic map of the land of the Green Isles.
Why, as a matter of fact, I do. I keep it under the counter. It's been gathering dust so long that I nearly forgot about it. It was quite a few years ago, you see. The estate of a wealthy wizard fell into my hands when he died. It was useless magical junk mostly, which reminds me, I've still got some things of his in the back that I need to dump out. Anyway, the magic map was the one true treasure in the lot. The wizard was quite old and feeble and had enchanted the map to aid in traveling. It is said that one need only desire to be on an island depicted on the map to find oneself there. It is a very valuable map, as you can imagine. Unfortunately, no one is interested in traveling these days. It is far too dangerous with the current state of the kingdom.
What would you take for the map?
I would normally want something magic in return, but since I am hardly overrun with prospective buyers, I would be willing to take anything of equal value in exchange.
Well, we got the ring that he said was valuable, and the pawn shop said we can always get it back, so let's try that.
Would you be willing to take my family ring in exchange for the magic map?
Daventry, are you a king then?
No, that's my father, King Graham. I'm just Alexander.
Well, Prince Alex, she is a beautiful ring. Are you sure you can part with such a unique family heirloom?
The ring does mean a lot to me. I didn't always have a family, you know. Still, it is only gold. There are more important things at stake now.
Then you now own a magic map, Prince Alex. I will keep your ring out of sight for a few days. If you find anything else of great value in your travels, you can come back for your ring. I would hate to see it melted down for gold. Ah, and a warning about the map. It will only operate when you are out in the open and within sight of the sea. The limitation has something to do with the teleport spell ingredients. You might try the beach.
Thank you. You are very kind. And I'll remember about the map.
Suddenly, the old man in the concealing cloak sneaks past Alexander, and with a sneaky dart of his hand, steals a mint from the candy jar. The old man stuffs the mint into his mouth and wobbles unsteadily out of the pawn shop.
Master! I followed Prince Alexander as you wished. From the pawn shop owner, he just abstained, just reprieved. He just got a magic map.
The voice acting, oh my gosh.
You fool! You've been eating those mints again. I ordered you to stop that. Yes, Master. Now, what is this about a magic map? With the map, Prince Alexander could travel anywhere as quickly as I can. I thought I took care of the only means of travel. By my scimitar, I can't have him stirring things up now. Get a hold of yourself and listen carefully, Shamir. Go to the other islands and tell them...
So we know that the genie is working for the Vizier, and you see his eye glinting, and so we know that he appears in other forms. The genie is the old man who has been spying on us. The genie is that little boy who was spying on us and tried to kill us.
A nightingale perches on a high branch of the tree. She sings the most beautiful song Alexander has ever heard. Alexander winds the mechanical nightingale and places it on the ground. The mechanical nightingale sings a sweet, tinny tune. The real nightingale in the tree cocks her head and listens intently. The nightingale flies to a lower branch and looks at Alexander curiously, as if she were deciding that this human might not be so bad.
Hello, little nightingale. Of what do you sing?
The nightingale only looks at Alexander curiously and continues to sing.
Can we give the nightingale something to take back to Cassima? How about the love poem?
Alexander holds out the poem to the nightingale.
Look at the snake up here. You see the yellow eye? Watch the eye, see if it glints. It does.
To Alexander's surprise, the nightingale swoops down and grabs the page from his hand. The nightingale flies off towards the castle with the poem. Where might she be taking it? Alexander
The game's a little bit glitchy, so it kind of got frozen
The
there.
nightingale sings her crystalline song in the boughs of the old tree. The nightingale looks at Alexander curiously, as though waiting for something. Alexander It plays its pleasant tinny tune. The living nightingale in the tree listens to the tune curiously.
I mean, I don't have anything else to give it.
Alexander sorts through the odds and ends that the pawn shop owner dumped into the pot. Magic exploding gum wrappers, a shattered crystal ball, a cracked wand, a fake thumb. Near the bottom, Alexander finds a little glass bottle labeled ink. It appears to be empty, but Alexander decides to take it anyway. You never know when a small bottle will come in handy.
Good day, Prince Alexander.
I want to see if we can trade this back for the ring.
I'd like to trade this magic map back for my family ring, please.
As you wish, Prince Alex. I suppose you have had enough adventuring for now, eh?
Perhaps. Thank you, merchant.
So here's my thought, right? We gave the love poem. Oh, now it's not there anymore. We gave the poem to the bird, but how does she know it's us, right? Oh, man, where's the bird? Do I have to restore my game? I hope we don't lose points for this.
Good.
I'd like to trade. Perhaps.
Oh, please still be there. Crap.
Alexander magic near.
Okay, I just did a quick restart and ran through everything again to see if I could do anything differently with the Nightingale. But as it turns out, like what I was trying to do is kind of give my ring to the Nightingale, because you can exchange your ring for the map. But when you do that, the Nightingale leaves. And I've tried it every different combination and just decided, you know what, goof around with it later.
Good day, Prince Alexander.
Clearly I need the map, so let's
Can I trade you my ring for the magic map again, merchant? I'm afraid I'm still in need of it.
Of course, Prince Alex.
And of course the genie's watching me.
Alexander decides to be friendly and offer the old man a mint.
Would you care for a mint, sir?
No, thank you. I'll get my own mint from the dish when I want one.
We know that he gets drunk off the mints, which is pretty funny. And we got this invisible ink, right?
Alexander's carrying a little ink bottle. It appears to be empty.
Okay. So yeah, the Nightingale won't come out. Nightingale won't come out if we don't have the map. So now I don't remember what happened when we gave this to her.
Alexander holds out the poem to the Nightingale. To Alexander's surprise, the Nightingale swoops down and grabs the page from his hand. The Nightingale flies off towards the castle with the poem. Where might she be taking it?
I don't know, but this won't come off the screen. And I didn't get a point for that either. And now my poem is gone. I'm just going to restore. And we will do that later. But for now, we are ready to use our magic map. That being said, this has been a pretty thorough exploration of the Isle of the Crown, and it has been about an hour. So let's stop this video here, and we'll start exploring the other islands in the next video. Thank you for joining me, and have a good day.